All right, all right. Good morning, good morning. It is 6:31. It is March 5th. Holy cow, it's already March 5th. Anyway, getting closer to springtime, so that's always good. What do they say? March goes in like a lion, out like a lamb. Well, so far this market's been in a roaring bull, and we'll see if it leaves that way. It's getting a little bit harder, and I feel like a lot of people are getting a little bit more, conservative, saying, hey, I might miss a little bit on the upside to make sure I don't get caught in the downside as we've extended pretty far with some disconnections and some frothy action. Anyway, there's been a lot of good action. My name is Scott Redler. I'm the Chief Strategic Officer of TPLive.com. Welcome to the 6:30 Club. This is what we do. We go over the narrative, we go over the levels, we go over the news. We try and figure out how we can make some short-term cash flow, situate for life, have some laughs, and figure it out. Let's see who's on there. I can say hello to. What up, Big D? We got Dan up early in the morning again. We got It's rising and grinding. Tesla was a screaming bear yesterday. Listen, guys, Tesla's been in a bear trend since 1228. If you're a technician and you want to look at a candle on 1228, Tesla said, we're no longer leading, and it's been pretty much been in a downtrend since, with a few little opportunities. There's been a lot of stocks that have been disconnected, and it's our job as traders to leave the ones that are disconnected to the side, whether it's been Apple, whether it's been Google since earnings, whether it's been Tesla, and go where the action's been. And where's the action been? The action was just in the bios. The XBI had to move to almost 103 half. IWM went to 208. You have AI names going nuts. First post Nvidia numbers, and then the rest, and then AMD, and then they all came back. So we're doing a good job going where the action is, especially if you want to be an active long. Listen, if you want to be an active bear, you could have shorted every rally in Tesla or some of these things. But anyway, what up, JJ? What up, Dave? What up, Annie? Hello, Annie. Annie Anston. That's a nice name. We got Stan Raskin in the house. What up? What up? All right, so what's happening this morning? So I guess the headline is that the Commerce Department says that AMD's chips are a little bit too powerful for China. We've heard rumblings of that. They did that with Nvidia months ago. It affects the tape a little bit, and then sometimes it moves on. At this point, I know I come in with less risk than I came in with yesterday. Doesn't mean I'm, all out. It means that I cleaned up a few things, that the trade changed, I sold a little bit more premium. I actually have some Q's puts on, and I actually don't come in long Nvidia today, so maybe I could buy it to go red to green, but I still do have two call spreads on that, I'm letting, work out. Yesterday, I came in with straight calls into the action. I sold premium higher, brought down my costs, made them almost free plays. But anyway, let's take a look at the chart real quick. Here is the SPYs. Some guys like, hey, Red Dog, wasn't that a topping tail yesterday? Isn't that, I'm like, it was a little bit of a topping tail. It wasn't like extreme. It wasn't like they squeezed the hell out of you and closed them in the dead lows, made a blaring red topping tail. But when you're extended from the 8-day like this, and you have some key names, or big names from back in the day, not say back in the day, but, like an Apple or a Google or even a Tesla, it breeds a little bit of cautiousness. So why not, put on some hedges, reduce some positions you're not committed to, and then figure it out. So for today, I would think that this 510-ish area should hold. So if you look right now at the SPYs, they're already off the lows. It's already up at 511. So it's not like we're falling apart here. So we'll see how it goes. Every time we have a down open, every bear roars, see, you dumb active bulls. Listen, it always sounds very smart to be bearish. The most sophisticated guys on TV sound them the best, but chances are they're an economist or they're bearish. And that's not, this isn't going to end well as not a trading plan. I say that all the time to the Alpha team. This isn't going to end well as not a trading plan, because it could be 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. How are you going to handle that? How are you going to switch gears from a lot of positions to less positions, to hedges, to flattish, to shortish? When are we going to finally get a blow and stay below the 8-day moving average and show that the sellers have a little bit of power? That's when we'll say, okay, now it feels like it's faultier and maybe not end as well, or change. So with that being said, here's the Qs. The Qs didn't quite have enough power to get above yesterday's highs, right? So, there's a lot of weakness in a lot of the main stocks, and now here we'll see, what up, Tony? We'll see if this 440.59-ish area holds at this point. Let's go to the Qs. The Qs are down 260. So even like it's funny, people like, oh, I'm buying puts, I'm buying crazy puts. I bought some puts every few weeks out, and it's hard to make money in the puts. We don't go down enough. Like I think yesterday, in the afternoon, I bought what kind of puts did I buy? I bought the 442 puts. What am I going to make on this? Especially if we open down 3 and close down 1.5. The way that the hedges have been helping me is into strength. I'm selling premium above $1 or $2 for $1.50 or so 2 days out. And then if we don't get there, I keep that. And if we digest, I keep that. And if we go through it, I'm making money long. And then chances are I let it flip me short in my hedges and come back to it until something materially changes. But anyway, for the Qs, 441.35, we're above this area, we're above the 8-day. Things are still moving along. I will say the XBI is getting a little wishy-washy. We had a great play from 95 to 103 in the XBI, and now I would let it settle out a little bit. Whenever you get like a big red bar like that and then match with the green bar, then a red bar, it's getting a little trickier. Not like when we broke out above this 94. It still looks like on the weekly chart, if you go to the weekly chart, that there's room here. You just had a big move. You had a big move to 103. From the bottom end of the range through the range. So if it wanted to, it looks like that could happen, but who knows? Same thing with the IWM. The IWM had a big move, through fake out in the bottom end of the channel. Then you had a little bit of a fake out, if you remember, through the top end of the channel, and kind of rebuilt and broke above it and kind of get to 212. Yeah, but again, it's March. We have a whole friggin' year ahead of us. So, chill out. So with that said, there are good moves in those areas. So you have to take those moves when it happens. So a lot of people, Dan Nathan is hoping he'll be right for once, Tony said. Dan Nathan, listen, I've been with Dan a lot. We were at the financial festival. I think you were there, Tony. He's a very smart guy, all as well. But anyway, he was saying Nvidia would go red post earnings. And anyway, Nvidia's been my biggest winner to the upside. So with that being said, the question is, for clues for the day, we always say, what are the clues of the day? Well, first of all, remember it got above 746 and 761 post earnings. Here was your post earnings gap. That was a great long, didn't go red. And then you had your follow through to 823, if you remember that. And then we pulled in for 4 sessions to the 8-day, and then boom. Okay, so I don't care what people say out there. I listen to the stock, I listen to the action. Even for today, Nvidia was down 20, and now Nvidia is down 6. So someone even on the chat room was saying yesterday, do you think 876 is going to be the high of March? It's way too early to tell. If anything, I really don't think it is, but if it is, it is. I have 2 call spreads that I wound up selling into strength. I also shorted some 9-10 calls to have on as a hedge. And today, if we could hold 837, which were $8 above it, and build a little bit and let the moving averages catch up, who knows? Maybe we get another bull type flag. If it fills the gap below 837, then it takes some of the momentum out. Those are some of the things I'm thinking about, not what the guys on TV say. But anyway, we'll see what happens. And then as far as AMD is concerned, listen, there's a time and place for everything. AMD was my biggest and best trade on Thursday. Why? There was a setup. It traded through 184, 185, gave you an awesome follow through on Friday, even gave you yesterday, 3 days up. Why be so big? If you have a little left over today, okay, fine, but still, AMD's only down 4. Okay, AMD, again, this is when you want to be in your bulk of the trade. You have a little feeler in here. I was buying some calls in there. It was in the top end of this quadrant, protecting the gap. Here you go after it, follow through, you get paid, and look how extended that is from the 8-day. So there's probably people short that are happy that this news came out, and it's down 4. So now what? Okay, this is yesterday. What's yesterday's low in AMD? Yesterday's low in AMD is 203.50. This was the high of the prior day. Here's another little gap, which it's going to be filling. This morning it was lower. So I would say, into this area would be probably a nice little buy the dip, let the moving averages catch up. But there's no reason why anyone should be in a big tier after 3 up days to into yesterday. So you got to have your system and your process. That's why we talk about tier system, about day count, about setups, about how to navigate your size to net money, let some trailers go, etc. Palantir wasn't fun. Palantir I lost in my options, but again, I didn't buy this stock into the potential of an S&P 500, it wasn't them. So what was it? It's like an earnings play. So I had options, and those options didn't work. You know what? I'll live. At this point, is it broken? I wouldn't say it's broken, but it just didn't have enough power to take out 2550 as if they would have if they had been added to the S&P. So losses happen. Who cares? Where is it this morning? It's probably down. PLTR down 30 cents. Yesterday's low is what? This low is let's move this down a little bit. Move this down a little bit. Yesterday's low is 23.53. So see if it holds it. See if it starts to rebuild. So that's where didn't get the nod. But again, if you have your process and you didn't take the stock into it and have 10,000 shares saying everyone says it's going to happen. If everyone says it's going to happen, it usually doesn't happen. Anyway, remember the financial fight? That was 11 years ago. Oh my goodness. So with that said, see if this holds, and maybe it rebuilds, and maybe we come back to it. But who knows? At this point, where did we make our money yesterday? Gold, finally, right? Gold had a nice breakout. Gold, me and Mikey went over this on Friday. Every Friday now, just so you guys know, we do a 2:30 weekend review and a look ahead. And gold was, one of the biggest positions. I was buying Nugget, and most people buying call spreads. And look at that nice move. That was a finally, failed here, failed there, boom. Then you go to the weekly chart. The weekly chart lined up, nice move up here. The monthly chart lined up. That was great. Look at this cup and handle pattern. This is telling you it probably doesn't end right here. There's a lot of room, but anyway, you use your tier system. You could have went with it a bunch of different ways. I bought a lot of NUGT, and that was down here. Figured, hey, if gold's going to break out, why wouldn't the miners have a move? So this was a bunch of times miners. I sold a bunch of it yesterday. The 200 days there. I'm not sure what it's doing today. What's gold doing today? Gold is up 79 cents. All right, not bad. What's NUGT doing this morning? Up 42 cents. Not so bad. And guess what? Might play a little catch up. Silver. Anyway, a bunch of us are buying silver just in case if gold really extends, maybe silver has a little bit of a move. But this was a great play. I haven't been in NUGT in years. That is the luxury of being a trader, is that you can go where the setup and the action looks to be happening, and then you can get in there small and go after it when it does. Same way, even Morgan Stanley. When was the last time you heard Red Dog talk about Morgan Stanley? I tried playing Goldman Sachs a week or two ago. It was okay. And then I was watching Morgan Stanley. Look how tight Morgan Stanley was getting. Very tight. So I was accumulating which calls in Morgan Stanley? We were accumulating the 88s for March 8th. Okay. And I was not expecting a move like that yesterday. So those 45-cent options, I sold a bunch over $2. And it wasn't even an earnings play. It was just a tight setup. I didn't feel like buying the stock. I feel like I could accumulate some options, and there you go. And now we'll see, what's next in Morgan Stanley. I'm down to a third. So if you accumulate in here, you get a big move, you take half off, you let half go, or a third, whatever it is. Someone like, well, what do I think about Goldman Sachs now? Well, still tight. Goldman Sachs, I was long it in here. If you remember, I put that chart up, and it just, a little top and tails got to be perfect. I don't know if the banks are going to continue or not. All I know is that it looks pretty good. If you didn't want to overtrade this thing, maybe buy the 400s. And if the banks want to continue, they go. But I have nothing on with Goldman, and I sold a big portion of Morgan yesterday. That was fun. And then you have the semis. Okay, not the semis. Crypto. Yesterday I was showing you crypto that 69,000 was the prior high. I said at least we could probably get there and kiss it. I know a lot of my friends who have a lot of Bitcoin who've been riding this in their Coinbase Pro account or whatever that new Coinbase is. They put out offers between 67 to 69 to sell, just because the first time you get there from so low, probably backs off, and then you see how it holds in there for the next time it tries to get through. So anyway, if you go to Bitcoin itself, what a big move. Listen, I didn't crush it in Bitcoin. I made money 3-4 different times, which I'm happy about. I made money in Mara. I made money in Beto calls, IBIT, a bunch of things. But here you go. So Bitcoin is not the end of the world that it couldn't get above, but look where it came from. Look at the different triggers. Just like trading, Nvidia or whatever. Here was a nice area to get long and add to it, 52.8. Then you had to move all the way up to 64, another bull flag. Took out 64, got as high as 68.8. So is that going to be your high of crypto? I don't think so. But what you're probably going to have now come out, if we come in a little bit, is you're going to have like the crypto bears talk about a double top. They're like, oh, well, look, Red Dog, here's your double top, 69, boom, boom, boom. Chances are that's not the case, but wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if you do lower this a little bit and it actually pulls in and gives a little bit of a refresh. Not too much because you want to keep the momentum, but somewhere in here for a little while, and then next time when the moving averages catch up a little bit and it just hangs out in here, next time it goes through, you can get a really meaty trade, and chances are you'll get your ramp to wherever it goes. You can go wherever it wants. You can go to 80,000, 90,000, 100,000. I think what's his face? Well, it said 150 last night, which is crazy. But anyway, really nice move. Look at the technicals above the 8-day the entire time. You want to be long things in this sector when you're above the 8-day, not short. Anyway, what you don't want to be long, even though it's a name and even though we all have, every product underneath the sun there, it was lately as a trader is Apple. Why not? Because it's been rolling over. Apple hasn't led this entire time. Apple literally, I played it post earnings here, and then it lost all the moving averages around 188 and has been below the 8-day ever since. Yes, this is Apple, below the 8-day moving average. I don't care what stock it is. It's not special, doesn't deserve to be an active swing long if you trade for a living. Listen, if you've been an investor in Apple for 20 years, you don't care. And chances are within the next 3, 9, 12, 18 months, stock's going to be an all-time high. You shouldn't be worrying as an investor. As a trader, it hasn't been where the action is. And if you're shorting the SPYs because Apple's been so bad, chances are you're not happy. So what now with Apple? Well, Apple is at 170, 180, below 173.80. I would say this 165 to 166 area should be a level of interest that might give you some kind of trade, But all in all, Apple just hasn't been where the place to be. And Tesla, everyone's like, Red Dog, you don't talk Tesla anymore. You haven't talked Tesla. Everyone, can I buy Tesla? Almost the same way people want to buy BABA for a year all the way down. And I'm like, Tesla changed, like 6 months ago, let alone on 12/28 when Tesla, failed right here with this wide range bar. Remember that wide range bar in Tesla? Remember that? That was right here where it broke below prior low, then lost the 8-day. Then it was in a bear market or a downtrend this whole way. And then it did give you one trade right here. And then it felt okay. Like even there's people like, Red Dog, we're buying Tesla. I'm like, you know what? I'll buy a few calls because it's still lagging. It's still sort of broken. The EV sector hasn't been the EV sector. And PS yesterday, it now broke another whole area where hopefully if you were fast, you had your stops in 198 if that was where you were playing it for. So this small inverted head and shoulders pattern, which is a bottom pattern, which typically is the best when the market's bottoming in. You don't want to play an inverted head and shoulders with size when the stock market's making higher highs. That means it's lagging. You want it to reverse and start before the market does. That's leadership. But anyway, this broke. At this point, it's people are like, well, maybe we want Elon to leave. I'm like, you don't want Elon to leave. If Elon leaves and all of a sudden this gets a PE of Ford or GM, you're really screwed. At this point, it's just it's just the way it is right now, and it hasn't been the place to be. It hasn't been a Meta. It hasn't been a Netflix. It hasn't been even an Amazon making higher lows and higher highs and paying you. So anyway, with that being said, China lags. There was a trade in China also. So we'll see what's next. But again, I'm running out of time. I just want to go. So here's the indices. I think 510-ish would be good to hold, right? 510-ish is the prior pivot high. Not the end of the world that we're coming in a little bit. I actually shorted a lot of premium, so I don't mind this at all. I can cover the premium that I shorted and see if we hold 510 or even 508. You wouldn't want to give back this whole candle though. That would show a little bit of power. I'd say that would make you have to reduce more risk. In the Qs, like I said before, you have 450, 59. All right, we'll see if that holds. Okay, that's a spot, and then the 8 days down here. The IWM, a little wishy-washy. Gave you a little, didn't hold the prior level. They sold strength. I got down to very small options. If you remember, I was buying calls in here for it to break out above 205. It hit what yesterday? It hit 207.77. I have a third left. So if you use a tier system, it doesn't matter. And we'll see. I think at this point, to be honest, you should be in a position where you'd rather miss out on some moves to the upside than get caught overly long if this turns into, some kind of, Tommy, some type of, I don't know. Inflation's still kind of high. We had the jobs report on Friday. My target for the year was S&P 5100. We're almost at 5200, and it's only March. It's a lot of trading to happen. So don't get caught with your pants down, but don't start shorting stuff just to try and feel sophisticated and cool. Play what's in front of you. Look for the setups. Net money. Do what you play to your strengths, but also work on your weaknesses and figure it out. You don't get the Star Ledger anymore. Anyway, isn't that NewJersey.com? But so with that said, take it easy today. Again, I think you need to watch for risk. You need to watch Nvidia. Is Nvidia going to hold this 837 gap or not? Is it going to open down 8 and go green and hang out in here? If that's the case, not much has changed. You're taking the AMD headline in stride. SMCI yesterday got above what's it called? That 1071, but kind of came in and gave you a bit of a doji. So that told you that people weren't as chopped as you would have thought. Went through 1077, went to 1155. Now this also, will this hold above 1,005, 1,020, and let the moving averages catch up? So a lot of if this happens, then that, if that, then this, for you to navigate. Will Apple, money rotate there after being in the hole and go from red to green? All things that I'm going to be watching. But what I'm not going to be doing is I'm not going to be stubborn. I'm not going to have an opinion. My TV is off until like 9 o'clock, and I don't listen to those who are wrong getting louder, because those that get louder hurt those who think the experts are the experts that play traders, on TV. Listen, there's some good ones. I'm not a hater of anyone. Just know, what people do for a living, and it might not match what you do. So do what you do, and just be careful out there and have multiple plans and see which way the market confirms it. Good luck today, guys.